Hey everyone, so now we're going to start talking about how to do math with Sig Figs. So let's make sure that you can identify what a Sig Fig is first. So watch the first video if you still need a little bit of help with that. And once you're comfortable, once you know that you can identify them, adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing really only comes down to two things to remember. With adding and subtracting, what we want to do, we want to round to the fewest number of decimal places. So let's take a look at this so that way we can turn this into some meaning, right? So we got 2.4 times 5004 plus 481.44. So the very first thing that I'm going to do, because I want to know where the decimal points are and where they are in relation to each other, I'm just going to line them up. So with that 5004, I can imagine there's a little decimal point right there. And we have all of these other ones lined up. So which one is the furthest left? So I'm going to start from my right side and move over to my left. Oh, I hit this one. This is my last significant digit to hit, right? So this is the furthest left. And then I'm going to add them out. So I'm just going to make a mental note that this column right here is what I'm looking for. And then we're going to do it out. And I'm going to put an underline right underneath that digit there, because that's going to help me keep track, because my next step is to round to it. When we round to that number, we want to look at the number before it and ask ourselves if it is 5 or greater. In this case, it's greater than 5, right? So this 7 right here is more than 5. And we're going to round that number, this one that I underlined, up 1, which is 5,488. Okay. Now besides addition and subtraction, we also have, of course, our multiplication and division. And in this case, the rule changes slightly. We're going to round to the fewest number of significant figures, right? So let's take a peek at that. Let's make that meaningful for us. So we got 24.5 times 63.2751. So the first thing I want to do is just identify how many sig figs each number has. So think about which ones you got, right? The 24.5, there's 3 significant figures there. There's 6 significant figures here, right? They're only whole numbers. There's no trap zeros, no trailing zeros with decimal points to worry about. No leading zeros, so we don't have to really do too much head work on this one. And all we want to do is identify which one has the fewest number of sig figs, which in our case is that 24.5. That's our fewest. So we do this out. I plug that whole number into my calculator and I get a number that looks like this. But we have a problem. We have to make this 3 significant figures. But it's 1,000, right? It's 1,550. So I have to keep that. So how do I do this? So I want to keep and maintain the scale of this number, but I want to make sure that I only have 3 sig figs. So pause the video, try it on your own first, and then we'll talk about how I approach it. Okay, hopefully you did that. So the first thing I like to do is to actually underline. In this case, I just wrote it in red. The first 3 digits, because I know I need to keep those. Those are my important digits, right? And then I have this 0 here. This 0, I can't keep it, right? It's not my 3 sig figs. These are my 3 sig figs over here in red, but this other blue 0 is not significant. But I have to keep it some way. So how are we going to do that? Well, we have to keep it, but we're just going to take that decimal point off, right? If I have 1,550 here with no decimal point, this 0 is no longer significant. I have my 3 sig figs. I have the scale of the number that I need, and that's what we're going to do. So in this case, where we're kind of done with adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing, I'm going to ask to make sure that you go through the practice sheet, really look at it. I have the answer key posted. Really check to make sure that you're good at identifying significant figures. You can make sure that you know all of the rules, right? You know that whole numbers are significant, trailing zeros with a decimal point are significant, and trap zeros are significant. Anything else is not significant, right? So we want to make sure that we're We're abiding by those rules, so practice those. If you still need help, contact me. You can either send me an email if it's a nice, quick, and easy question, or you can come sign up for some extra help with me, and I'll be happy to help you figure this out. I want to make sure that you understand it. So make sure that we're working through this, and we got it. And if you have it, awesome. We'll do a check later this week. Talk to you soon. Bye.